Good evening everyone. So going to start with the chapter number 2, that is the designing of components, and in this point or in this today's lecture we are going to see what are the different types of memories. So far we have seen that the microcontroller or the microprocessor is consisting of some kind of memories, right? With consisting of CPU, it was also consisting of memories. So let us see in detail about this kind of memories. So starting with the embedded memories. The point itself is an embedded memories. So in this embedded memories, we are going to see which are different kinds of memories this embedded system is going to consist of. So the different types of memory modules used in this embedded systems. So according to the application, the memory used is also different. The memory modules used are also different. So, an embedded system uses different types of memory modules for the wide range of tasks such as the storage of software code and the instructions for hardware. Obviously, now according to the application, the style of writing the code or the instructions whatever you have used to write that program is maybe the length may be vary, the length may be depending upon the application what you are using. So for to use such kind of memories, or sorry, for such kind of code to store in some kind of memories, there are the wide ranges of the memories available. So these software codes and the instructions are used to program the microcontroller. So here in the diagram you can see different kinds of memories are available. So this is nothing but the set. Now here in the chip you can see the two memories can be set up in one chip, right? So this is one microcontroller, and with respect to this there are the two kinds of chips you can use. If this board you are going to see only one single chip is been utilized, or this board you can see there are 1 2 3 4, so there are number of chips available or mounted on a single chip. So depending upon that, these are the different kinds of memories in the embedded system whatever you are going to use it. So moving toward next, here you can see the classification of a memory. Okay, so the classification is this memory is basically classified into three main types, that is RAM, second one is the hybrid memory, and third one is the ROM memory. So the RAM memory is again classified into two types, that is the DRAM memory or SRAM memory. The hybrid is classified into three types again, that is the NVRAM, flash, EEPROM, and the ROM is consisting of EEPROM, ROM and masked memory. So with respect to all these kinds of memories, we are going to see one by one in detail what are the different kinds of memories. So basically let us see what a memory is. A memory is nothing but a module in which it is a physical device which is used to store the programs. As we know, whatever the memory you are going to take is nothing but it is used to store the programs. It is used to store the data, that is on a temporary basis or on the permanent basis. Now this temporary or permanent is dependent upon which kind of memory you are been using. So that is used for the digital electronics. So there are different varieties of memories in the embedded systems which each is having on their own particular mode of operations. So if you are going to take SRAM, if you are going to take DRAM, if you are going to take EEPROM, so accordingly to the classification they are having their own varieties of the embeddeds and having their own particular of operations. So an efficient memory increases the performance of an embedded systems. Now as we have seen, or as we are going to see, the different kinds of memory systems, so depending upon the performance of that memory, also the efficient space the memory is going to perform in the embedded systems. So the next we are going to see is the type of memory modules. So now the different types of memory modules for any system depends upon the nature of application of that system, as I have told you earlier. So what are the application you are going to use? With respect to that application, the type of memory module is going to vary. So the memory performance and the capability requirements are small for low cost of the systems. So if the memory whatever you are going to use is, if it is low, so depending upon that kind of performance, the memory is going to vary, and the systems is going to vary with respect to the low cost or the high cost. So depending upon the performance, the systems are going to vary. So the selection, now we need to see, listen, which kind of memories or what are the selection memories you are going to use for that particular memories. So the module which you are going to use for that particular system is dependent upon the selection process what you are going to use. Now if you are going to use some kinds of memories, there is some selection procedure. Now suppose if you are going to use any kind of for example, if you are going to go in a shop and if you need to buy one dress, suppose, so what you are going to see, you are going to have some selection criteria, what is according to your mind. Similarly, like that only, what is according to the application you need, that time the selection procedure is defined, and for that much memory or for that much application, this much kind of memory is required. So as that of kind, the designing of the procedure is going to decide, and that memory for the selection of memory module is the most critical requirement in a designing of the microcontroller based project. Next, the general types of memory modules are, first one is the volatile memory and the second one is the non-volatile memory, in which the volatile memory module comes the RAM, is it not? So this RAM is random access memory. So this RAM is basically the volatile memory. Means what? The volatile memory devices are the type of storage devices which hold their content till the power is applied to them, is it not? So now if some kind of memory is there, suppose, now that is a volatile. When you are going to say it a volatile, whenever you are going to apply the power supply continuously to that kind of memory, and once the power supply is cut off, the memory is going to get operated stop. So that of it is called as the RAM. So once the switch off, once the power supply is cut off, means the whatever the content you are going to store in that memory is also going to get lost. So that is nothing but called as RAM memory, is it not? So this here also it is explained that when the power is switched off, these memory lose their content. So that is nothing but called as volatile memory. So here you can see some images of the volatile memory. This is the memory which is contains continuously a power supply is required for this volatile memory, that is device's RAM memory. Now in this RAM memory chip is referred to the main memory, and the storage, that is nothing but the location for that storage of the information to be stored and accessed quickly from the random location with the memory module. So the memory cell which is accessed for the information transfer to or from the desired random location is called as random access memory. As the name of the RAM itself says, that random access memory. So whenever you want to get access from that particular information, you can get the desired location anywhere from the location. So the RAM memory is designed basically with a collection of storage cells, and each cell is consisting either with a BJT or a MOSFET. Okay, so the RAM memory is contained, the RAM memory which we have seen in the diagram, that is basically designed with the concepts of BJT or MOSFET, and that is based on the memory module. For example, suppose we need to get 4x4 RAM memory, that is nothing but which is going to store 4 bit of information into that RAM by 4x4 RAM memory. So in this 4x4 RAM memory, each instruction of the row or column is in a matrix form in the memory cell. So each block is labeled by the BC representation in the binary cell with inputs of 3 inputs or 1 input. So the basic instruction, whatever it has been given, is consisting of each block consisting of 12 binary cells. So here we can see the instruction with each instruction of a row or column in this matrix is a memory cell. Each block is labeled by the BC, that is represents the binary cell, its 3 inputs and 1 output. So each block is consisting of 12 binary cells. So let us see in the diagram. So what is this? So we are going to study more about the internal storage data of a circuitry of a RAM memory. To each memory block, each word output from the decoder is select input. Okay, so for the memory block, each word as the output is going to be applied as a decoder for the select input. So here in this diagram you can see, here we are going to take the 2 by 4 decoder. Okay, so for this 2 by 4 decoder there are the input address lines. One is the memory enable line. Second thing is been the read or write line. So here you can see the word 0, 1, 2, 3 is been applied to the data inputs. So this all the blocks are connected to 1, 2, 3 of the gates, and each and output of is taken as the data outputs. So here we can see each memory block is consisting of word output which is given from the decoder. So here the decoder is been given the word 0, 1, 2, 3 accordingly, and we are going to select it. So the decoder is enabled with the memory enable input. So when the word is selected and once it is enabled, it is been going as the memory logic pin as 1, or it is going as logic pin low level, and all the outputs of the decoder of the logic is going to get low, and the memory does not select any word. If you want to select one particular word, the low level has to be given in the input. When the cable pin is at logic level high, the parallel output corresponding to the serial input is given as a select input to each memory block. So once the pin is been selected to the logic high, all the decoder lines is given the word to that particular logic gates and stored into that memory block. So here you can see the internal data storage of the RAM memory. Next, once the word has been selected, the read and the write pin for each block determines the operation. Obviously, once the decoder is selected, enable pin is done, the word is been given to that particular logic gate, and the read or write pin is going to get enabled. So once you need to write the data, the word is going to get written. Once you need to read the data, the word is going to get read by the logic gate. So depending upon the operation that it determines. So if it is read write pin is logic low level, the input is written into the memory block. Is it not? If you are going to select read or write, and if the logic low, if it is going to give you 0, then it has been shown as it is the writing procedure operation is going on. And if it is you are going to show that is the logic level high is logic level is high, then the output read is been taken from each of the block. So next we are going to see is the non-volatile memory. In this non-volatile memory, as we have seen, this non-volatile memory are the permanent storage types of the memory chips, where we can get the stored information even when the power is switched off. We have seen the volatile memory where continuously power is been applied to it, and once the power is cut off, the memory content whatever you have been written into that memory, it has been going to off. But here this non-volatile memory is going to store the contents permanently into that chip whatever you are going to use, and whenever, even though the power supply is been cut off, even then you can see the contents whatever been written into the chip. This is the main difference between the volatile memory and non-volatile memory. For example, suppose of a non-volatile memory is a ROM, that is read only memory. Now this ROM stands for read only memory. ROM can only be used to read from but cannot be write upon. Once the data is been written into it, it is stored permanently. If even though you want to write it next time, it cannot be written into it. Just you can read the data once you have stored into it. That is nothing but called as read only memory. And such kind of memories is nothing but called as the non-volatile memory. The non-volatile memory is nothing but the memory information is stored permanently in such memories during the manufacture. So the ROM can store the instructions which are required to start the computer when the power is given to the computer. So once the power supply has been going on, the ROM is going to store the instructions whichever required to start the computer. So this operation is referred to as bootstrap. Now even though if you can sometimes you can see this bootstrap application on your PCs. So this bootstrap is nothing but once the data instruction is already stored, when the computer, how to start the computer, the instructions have already been given to the computer, and even when the power is given off, the computer is going to show you as the bootstrap. So the ROM memory cell is designed with a single transistor, where we have seen that the RAM memory is designed with the BJTs and MOSFETs, is it not? So here the ROM memory is designed with a single transistor. So the ROM memory is not only used in the computers, but it is also used in all the electronic devices like the controllers, micro ovens, washing machines, etc. So nowadays if we are seeing, washing machine is also nothing but an embedded system where the program is already stored and the hardware of that machine is nothing but the embedded system. So to on and off that controller, the washing machine, we require the ROM memory is being used into that. So a ROM memory is a nothing but a family which is designed with a collection of storage cells, similarly like that of the volatile memory. So each memory cell that contains either the bipolar or the MOSFET transistor based on the type of the memory. So either it is using bipolar or MOSFETs. So now here you can see the example of the non-volatile memory, where this is the small chips are being introduced in here, and this is the memory where once the data is been stored, it cannot be rewrite again and it is stored permanently. So this non-volatile memory or the RAM, now we are going to go with the types of, let us see the types of RAM chips available. So we have seen the difference between the ROM and RAM. Now we are going to see the RAM, that is we have seen earlier the RAM or basically the RAM memory is divided into two types. First one is the SRAM and second one is the DRAM. So let us see in detail about the static random access memory, which is nothing but called as SRAM. So the static random access memory is a module which is a type of a RAM that retains the data bit in its memory as long as the power is being supplied. So this RAM memory is nothing but, we know RAM is nothing but a volatile memory. So this volatile memory is when the continuously power supply is been applied, till then the RAM is going to work. So similarly, the static random access memory is going to retain is going to send you, or you can see, or I can access the data only when the power is been applied to that. So the SRAM does not need to be refreshed periodically. The static RAM provides faster access to the data, then is more expensive than DRAM. So DRAM is nothing but dynamically read access memory, where SRAM is static. So as it is a static memory, it is going to give you the faster access, and as it is giving you the faster access, it is more expensive as compared to DRAM. So each bit in our SRAM is stored in 4 transistors. As we know, RAM is nothing but made up of the bipolars or the MOSFETs. So the SRAM is stored in 4 transistors that form 2 cross-coupled inverters. So the 2 additional transistors is been required. 2 transistors is for to form the coupled inverters, and additional 2 transistors is been applied to serve the control to access of the storage cell during read and write operation. As we know, during write and read operation, compulsorily we need to control the access, either it is given to the write or whether it is given to the read. So with respect to that, the additional